I think when you truly know who you are, when you truly can rely on yourself, and you truly feel comfortable with who you are, shame goes away. I don't really feel too much shame anymore, especially in comparison to what I used to feel. It was one of the biggest emotions that I would feel. The shame that you're not good enough. You need to do more, that you need to do more. And I think now it's a case of, I want to do more. And that's one of the most valuable feelings you can have, that you just want to do more. Not that you have to be anyone, that you can just be you. And I think that's the aim. I think everyone can have their opinions on it, and everyone has their own way for them. But I think at the end of the day, if you can't be you, your own mind is a prison. I just want to say thanks for watching this video. Just want to give you a little pre-warning. If you enjoy my content, usually it's the people who have a bit of patience. There's not these massive edits. This is going to be a long casual chat about the idea of shame on wanting more. If you enjoyed, give it a like, comment your opinion, and if you want to see and you prefer more edited and shorter formats, I make the best bits of every one of these videos, post them on my shorts, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you find your short content, so check that out as well. Link is in the description. But yeah, enjoy. I think for me in life, I see one of the biggest battles is always wanting more. And I have felt that feeling of shame towards that, because you want to be grateful for what you have, but you want to still aspire for great things. You still want to look forward and progress. But I battle with that idea that you're not good enough, and trying to work seriously on that idea and be okay with how you are, how everything is, what you have. And it's a constant debate on my mind whether it's right to want more, whether we should be striving for greatness, or just be happy that we're alive. I think when it comes to this idea, I think a lot about shame and about pressure, and how pressure can crumble you, and how pressure and shame can poison you. But fuck, it is so good at doing great things, at achieving greatness. The greatest minds that have ever lived have this feeling that they need more, they need to do more. Whatever they're doing isn't good enough. And it's a fascinating factor because I battle with it. I've always grown up, and the words, "you're not good enough," ring in my head all the time, from my own self. And this idea that you're chasing this dream, you're chasing this end result, this one point where you make it, where you are good enough. And I'm battling with trying to figure out if it's possible to feel good enough, if that should even be the aim, if we should do more, or can we just accept that just existing and being alive and being who you truly are is good enough? I think I think about this all the time, with the fear of being lazy, with the fear of being a bit of a slob. I mean, you look everywhere and there's this pushing to do more, to do better. And I don't necessarily think it's a negative thing that's pushed on us, that we're pushed to believe we're not good enough. However, I have been crumbled and I have felt the weight of not feeling good enough, and I wouldn't want anyone to feel that way. And I think that's where this comes down to a lot of ideas in life, is we need a balance. I think feeling shame sometimes gets us off our ass and sometimes gets us fucking moving. Shame grips us by the collar and shakes us and says, get a grip. You know, those words, man up, hold value. But too much of it can hurt and can hold us back. And I think growing up, the difficulty is knowing how much seasoning to give yourself of shame. Sometimes you can get caught up in just that emotion, in that you're not the cool kid, in that you haven't got the latest things, in that you've come last or you've not come first. I think the people who come last sometimes need that push. And I think the people who come second, I mean, it's hard to tell because, like I said, this emotion, this idea has made the greats. And I think we aspire to be like the greats. You see it in athletes all the time. They're your role models. And we look at action, we look at the success of the rewards and the accolades. And I think it's because we don't see how that mindset makes a person, how they cope with life. Because there can only really be a number one. Obviously, over time, you get different number ones when the number one has left. But I always look at it in sports. You look at the number one, let's say, football player. There can only be one at that time. And the rest aren't there. And it's this idea of wanting more. Someone who finishes second place just isn't good enough, just by a little bit. And you can either use that as fuel, or, well, use it as fuel to get you to first place, or it can be too much to get you to third place. And I think what the real greats do is they try and find the passion and the love. And I wonder if they try and not even think about the idea that one is better than the other. About wanting more and having enough. I wonder if it's just living now. Just having what you have now. And it's like, it's this war between the two ideas, and then the third one of like, just live today. Feel your emotions today. One's not related to another. And I think when it comes to shame for wanting more, it's the build-up. It's the build-up of over time, every single day wanting more. And I think the negative of not having that mindset is the build-up of every day not wanting more. And I think you have to flicker between the two. I mean, I talk about these ideas when it comes to people's problems. And it's not 2D. So we're three-dimensional, we're complex. And there's so much that goes on in life that it's not as simple as just wanting more, and that's the mindset that you have. Or appreciating life, and that's just the mindset that you have. I think it's definitely more complex. I know I flicker between it all the time. Just the other day, I was reminiscing about one of the greatest times I've had, which was when I was traveling in Australia. And we're talking about, could we move there? Could we have that life? Absolutely. And I can imagine the life I would have, and it'd be phenomenal. And then I sit back and I go, but what if it's not? What if it's phenomenal for a while, but eventually it just becomes this life right now, the same as what I've got right now? And it's this battle between appreciate what you've got here, because I've not got a bad life. I've got a really good life. And yet I still want more. I work 4 days a week. I get a Friday off most of the time. 90% of the time I get my Fridays off. Yet last night, I think, God, this weekend's gone quick. I could have one more day. But I've got one more day. And you don't see it. And this idea of the 4-day work week is fantastic for a while, until you forget about it. And on my Thursdays, I'm knackered at the end of the day. And I think, how? I used to work 5 days a week. Somehow, my standard has dropped to now 4 days is my capacity. Because there's this always wanting more. And I question myself, and I feel a little bit of shame when it comes to it. Like, why can't you master this? Why can't you feel this appreciation all the time? But then I remember it is there to push me. It is there for me to try and go get the exact life I want. Go get the next thing. And I think that's all right, because the pursuit of something gives you a purpose, gives you a meaning, makes you feel alive. And that's why I enjoy it. And that's why I dance between the two. Because I think I like both feelings. And that's where I think shame doesn't have to come into it, because you can just see that both are valuable. You can take a positive from both. So when I'm thinking I need to do more, I can think, yeah, let's fucking do it. And when I think, oh God, I just need to appreciate what I have, I can think, fuck yeah, let's do that. And I get joy out of both of them, rather than sitting here and feeling that shame for both, because both are going to happen to me. I think that's what we forget as well. We battle between these ideas of things. I mean, I do it all the time. Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And it's like, well, right now, what are you feeling? Are you feeling that right now you should be doing it? Then experience the joy in what it is now. I love exercise. I love working hard physically. But sometimes it gets too much. Sometimes I'm knackered. And you then have the guilt that, like I said, you're not good enough, or you're not working hard enough. And you never really get to enjoy the fact of rest. That you can sometimes rest. But don't get too comfortable in that idea as well. And I think sometimes the issue in our head, or I know for me it is, we want this singular feeling, this singular way. I want to be disciplined. And people work towards being disciplined to get that feeling that they know they can trust themselves. But I think sometimes, like I said, it's you don't want this singular feeling. What about that relief that you can just let go? Because too much of one way makes me think about, well, what do you fear? Why do you fear one side of the coin? And balance is so fucking hard in life. It's so hard to recognize and it's so hard to achieve. But it's sort of the aim. And if you're feeling shame for wanting more, or if you're feeling shame for not being good enough, I think you've got to look how constant is each emotion. Are you leaning too much to one side? Do you need to give yourself a break? Or do you need to step it up? And sometimes I get that feeling of gratefulness, but also, yeah, let's keep going. Like my life right now, I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I think, yeah, let's keep going. I can sit here every day and have a foundation of, this feels fucking great. And then an enjoyment of, let's go get more. Not a pressure of go get more, but an enjoyment. And now some days the pressure piles on, and I think step it up more, and you lose the little bit of gratification that you have. But I think I'm comfortable now in the sense that I know it's always there to fall back on. I think when you truly know who you are, when you truly can rely on yourself, and you truly feel comfortable with who you are, shame goes away. I don't really feel too much shame anymore, especially in comparison to what I used to feel. It was one of the biggest emotions that I would feel. The shame that you're not good enough. You need to do more, that you need to do more. And I think now it's a case of, I want to do more. And that's one of the most valuable feelings you can have, that you just want to do more. Not that you have to be anyone, that you can just be you. And I think that's the aim. I think everyone can have their opinions on it, and everyone has their own way for them. But I think at the end of the day, if you can't be you, your own mind is a prison. You're gonna be suffering. And it's needless suffering. It's not suffering that necessarily strengthens you or progresses you or is needed. But like I said, I'm fascinated with this idea of wanting more, because a lot of our problems stem from wanting more, from not feeling like you have enough. And we all do it. It's just so human. It's so common. We all get a house and then want a bigger house. We all get a raise and then we all want more money. We always want more money. We want more responsibility, and then we don't want the responsibility. We got too much. You feel that people can always do more. But yeah. Peace.